Hey guys, welcome back to another nightcap with Corey. Tonight, this drink of choice is a Kona Big Wave. Cheers! But we're not going to go through scripture this time. We're going to go through different lives of the saints, but in particular those who have levitated. So what I have right now with us, what I'm going to use as a source is called Mysteries, Marvels, Miracles in the Lives of the Saints. And this book is chock full of different types of miraculous signs, from levitation to bilocation to jewelry appearing on people's rings, and even given these crucifixes. And you have also walking on water and food appearing and all these different types of things. But we're going to talk about specifically levitation. So levitation is a gift of, well, levitating. And so a lot of times when people think about levitation as a supernatural gift, they think about more the demonic, or they think about the exorcist, when the person is levitating because the demon is doing things. It's like, well, that can happen, just to be completely clear. But I think what is really important here is to understand that the supernatural is actually what it means, which is above the natural. And so the supernatural signs of these things happening, of things lifting up, is this idea that the supernatural has a greater hold on reality than than the physical has and can hold on to. And I think even like the fact that the demonic can do things like that actually points to the fact that God is real, because there's something that's greater than us. Continue on about the demonic is that in the book of Exodus, we see this, that how Moses would come before Pharaoh and he would perform signs. The God would tell him to perform signs, correct? Like if you know the story, then you understand that Moses came before Pharaoh and he did these, I forget how many, right now I forgot how many plagues, 10 plagues. But he did these plagues, and Moses would do something. So for instance, like he threw down his staff, and it became a snake. And then all of a sudden, all of Pharaoh's magicians threw down their staffs, threw down all of their staffs, and they also became snakes. However, if you notice also, the next line is, and Moses' snake ate up all of their snakes. And then Moses grabbed the tail and it became his staff again. In my mind, that's what it's showing, is that sure, the demonic can actually mimic some things that God can do, but it still has the greater authority. God has the greater authority. And so we're going to leave that there, and we're going to move on to the better thing, which is hearing about saints and how they fly, or how have they flown. We're going to start with this one. We're going to start with Saint Teresa of Avila. So Saint Teresa of Avila, she died in 1582, and she was a fantastic saint. She's got a lot of great writings. But we're going to focus on this specific thing. She said this about sometimes of what happens when she had levitated. It says, the saint tells us that the rapture comes like a strong, swift impulse before your thought can forewarn you of it, or you can do anything to help yourself. You see and feel this cloud or this powerful eagle rising and bearing you up on its wings. So it's an all of a sudden, like a sudden thing of flight. And she's also known in here, it talks about that she does her best to force herself down. There's one story in here that I won't read, but is that she was going up to communion, and she could feel the Lord pulling her up, and so she was in line for communion, and she was literally floating off the ground going up to communion, and she couldn't hold herself, and so she received communion. And the moment she received communion, she fell to the floor to try to stop herself from flying up to the ceiling, but the Lord took her up to the ceiling. Just a wild thing. And another saint is Saint Joseph of Cupertino. This man was known for flying. In here, it actually says that Herbert Thurston counted more than 70 levitations that took place in the saint's early life at Rotella, which is just one of his first places that he was a monk. But the raptures and levitations took place so often, especially at Holy Mass, that the total number of flights in Cupertino, Naples, Rome, and Assisi cannot be estimated. So this man flew up so many times that they can't even estimate the amount of times. He said he counted 70 times in one location, and there's other locations. And he lived in the year 1663. That's when he had died. But he was known for flying. Uh, he literally was told not to participate in certain things that became public or in public because he would actually distract people from prayer because he would go into a rapture. Like a rapture is when you become so overwhelmed by God that you were just taken away to it's like you're taken away this supernatural just like awayness. It's like if you've felt that, it's like you know what I mean. But it's just this like you're not. It's kind of like zoned out in some ways. Like you kind of all of a sudden you kind of come back. Like you're daydreaming so much that you kind of come back to yourself. It's similar. That's what kind of raptures can kind of be. Is that this taken up and just you lose yourself into the glory of God, into the presence of God that you feel you sense. And that's what the beautiful thing about these levitations were, and are really to this day, is that the Lord has these happen not because it's not like I don't know, it's not like it's they're not random. They're because the Lord wants to love the person in front of them. It's something that he wants to show his love for that person. And oftentimes with these raptures, some of them, like we read with Saint Teresa of Avila, is that sometimes they came upon without the person really wanting them to happen. Sometimes it's just I should say most of the time what happens is that they get so caught up in their prayer with the Lord, or they've gotten so far within their journey with the Lord that the Lord wants to show them off in a way of glory, in a way of sharing his glory, right? Because the Lord prayed that we would share in his glory. Not that we need to take the glory. That's not what I'm trying to imply. It's because we need to give all glory to him no matter what. But he likes to also share his glory from time to time. And sometimes it's through this miraculous thing of flight. But again, that is levitation. That is quick rundown of levitation. And it's such a beautiful thing. And I hope that you have a great night. And cheers to that. God bless you.